Ghost on the track, boy.
Hey guys, Joseph DRB here. Going to be doing a clutch on this 04 RSX Type S today. I'm using my homemade quick jack ramps. It's just some 4x12s that we cut down to the size that I needed. My buddy had them left over from a job. You can simply just do these with 2x4s and cut them equal lengths and pair them 3 together like I did for the front for the ramps. But my friend had these for free, so I haven't got a chance to paint them yet, but I will eventually. They're just really freaking heavy. If I could go back, or I might even in the future go change them all to 2x4s because these are way lighter. But I just cut 3 2x4s equal length and I tapered them off at the end and connected them with some bolts and put glue in between. And so far I've had them about like 2 years or maybe more, and they've been holding up. So I'm gonna get right to this thing. Gonna get this car hoisted and stuff, and then we can go from there. Okay, so this is going to be kind of like a tutorial DIY, but not super in depth, I don't think, at least, depending on how much time I have while I'm doing this job and what I remember to record. But I'll try to give you guys basics of how to do this. So what you want to start by doing is lift and support your vehicle so that it's stable, and get it up as high as you can so you have as much room that you can to work underneath. What you want to start by doing is removing like any accessories so you can have access to the top of the transmission. If you have a stock intake box, remove that and everything. I'm just going to remove this aftermarket AM intake that he has. And I'll probably remove the battery as well. And then two, it's just good rule of thumb to always disconnect the battery anyways, no matter what job you're really doing on a car. Unless it's like an oil change or something. Just to prevent you from, when you disconnect any sensors or anything like that, you don't short anything out. So I'll do that, and then I'll check back in with you guys and give you guys the next step. Okay, so now what you guys are going to do, since you got your air box off and your battery out, you'll disconnect the shift linkages. They're just cotter pins. You pull the cotter pin out, and then you should be able to remove the shift linkage, and then just take the bracket off, and you can hang. I usually hang them up, zip tie them up out of the way, like on the sway bar or something like that. And then we got to get this wire loom over here. There should be some bolts under here somewhere that connect it. Let me find where they're at. Or actually, oh, it's just hold on by a clip actually. So just disconnect it from the clip up here. Should just have to lift up that tab and then be able to pull it off. And then we'll get that out of the way, and then we'll disconnect any sensors we have up here that are connected to it, and then we'll start working on the bottom side to get the subframe out. Okay guys, so I got everything disconnected from the top. Got all of my electrical connectors disconnected. I got my wiring harness that's up here loosened up. I got my shift linkages zip tied up out of the way. Got my clutch master cylinder removed. To remove that clutch master cylinder, just two 12mm bolts that hold it on. And a quick tip for you guys, just put the bolts that you take out back in their holes if possible, so you don't lose them and you know exactly where the bolts go. That's disconnected. And then there was a wiring harness that goes down here by this motor transmission mount. I disconnected it just to be safe. There's a ground down there I disconnected, and now it looks like we should be ready to go and start getting underneath. What we're going to do now is we're going to disconnect. I already took off these axle nuts. You don't have to do this, but since I'm going to be replacing the ball joints, I have to remove the axle from the knuckle. But you'll remove the brake caliper, you'll remove the nuts that hold it to the shocks, and then you'll if you're going to do the ball joints, you'll remove, there's a little clip, like a little C-clip that goes in there. You'll remove that, and then it's a 17mm nut. You'll remove that, and then you can use a ball joint separator to pop those ball joints out. So we're going to do that. After you get done with that, we're going to pop out the axles from the actual transmission. And how you'll do that is you'll want to get in between the casing, like right there, get a little pry bar and not really pry against it, but kind of pop it. The popping motion will get, there's a little C-clip in there. That will get that off. And then we'll pop it from over here too to get this hole. Okay guys, we got our axles out. We've got our motor mount in the rear. Well, the motor trans mount, we got the 3 bolts on the bottom disconnected. We got the 1 bolt that's in right there for the front disconnected so that no motor mount should be holding onto the subframe. We made sure that we just have nothing connected at all. And I'm gonna lower it down on the quick jacks, and I'm going to put some jack stands underneath the subframe, and then I'll take out the 4 bolts and then I'll lift up on the quick jack. Alright guys, so we got subframe out, got everything disconnected. Now we're gonna start getting to the bell housing bolts. So behind this black bracket below the intake manifold by the starter, there is a bolt in there. You can see right there, it's that one. So we're going to remove this black bracket so we can get access to that bolt. Take out that bolt because I'm almost positive that one is holding on the bell housing too. There's some bolts down here. Get the access plate off too. Get this bolt right here off. Get this one. And then there's another one right there. There's 2, and then we'll get those off. And then I believe we should be able to just get the ones on the top, and this thing will be ready to come out. Alright guys, so I missed 1 bolt. It's right here, right below where the clutch master cylinder goes. I was wondering why it wasn't separating. Now I'm gonna loosen up that bolt. I've got my hoist up above grabbing a little hook. I've got a jack supporting the oil pan. I do have the special transverse engine support bar over there, but sometimes I think it just gets a pain in the neck, and they're not really, I don't have a bolt with me to fit into the hole that I usually use for these cars, so I'm just doing it like this, and I'm gonna put a jack stand and stuff under there once I get the trans out, just to be safe that the engine doesn't fall. Alright, trans out. Gonna get that clutch off and everything, and then we'll clean up the bell housing and everything, put on our new flywheel, our new clutch, and start putting everything back together. Alright guys, so we got our trans out and all cleaned up. We made sure to clean all of our surfaces, especially ones that like the throwout bearing are going to be riding on. I made sure to clean this really good. Make sure to clean the splines, because if we have any rocks or any debris, we can have a hang up on the clutch with disengagement or engagement. And then I made sure to take out the clutch fork, clean the pivot ball inside, clean the clutch fork itself, and clean up the spring and everything, so to make sure that we have smooth operation of the clutch. This is very important, and that could cost you taking your clutch back out again. And now, all right guys, now we have access to our clutch as well. What you're gonna do is just get a 10mm 12-point socket, and you're gonna take off the bolts that hold the clutch to the flywheel, and then we'll be able to have access to our flywheel. So we got the clutch off. As you can see, it's pretty worn. It was, I believe it's an Exedi clutch. It looks like one. I'm trying to see if I can find it. Well, it doesn't really matter too much. We got a brand new Exedi clutch going in though. Brand new pressure plate and a brand new flywheel. New rear main seal. And a new pilot bushing. So this thing will be better than it ever was before. Clutch off, you'll get a 17mm 12-point socket, and you'll undo the flywheel bolts in a crisscross pattern. And you'll also want to take off the bolts off the pressure plate in a cross-like pattern to prevent warpage, especially if you're going to be reusing your flywheel. Okay guys, so we got the flywheel off. As you see, it's pretty dirty under here. Rear main seal looks like it's leaking. Pilot bushing looks super rough, so it's gonna be really good that we're changing all this out. So to get out the pilot bushing, I have this blind hole puller, I believe that's what it's called. I bought it from Harbor Freight. I had to shave down the little ends to make it fit inside the bore, but fits perfectly. You just put it in there and you tighten it down, and it pulls the bushing out super easy. Got the new rear main seal and everything and the pilot bushing put in. Now I'm installing the Exedi lightweight flywheel. I counting down the flywheel bolts so far in a crisscross pattern, and now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna get my paint marker and mark as I torque each bolt. I'm gonna go to about 45 foot-pounds on all of them, and then I'll go to the final torque of 90 foot-pounds after that. Sorry, I didn't really get too much footage other than a time lapse of me putting everything back together. But basically, everything went back together in the opposite way that I took it off. So, some issues I can give you guys that I ran into. The subframe and the motor mounts and everything lining up, those were a little bit of pain. Helps to keep all the motor mounts a little bit loose and try to put everything in before you finally snug down the subframe. That'll help a lot. So other than that, Didn't really run into too many issues. Clutch and everything went on pretty easily. Okay guys, so we are test driving it now. So far so good. The clutch feels amazing to how it felt before. It engages so quickly now. There's pretty much no clutch play, and we still have to bleed the fluid and change out the clutch master cylinder next time he comes in. So far so good. See that second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. No issues.